Thank you, Matthew. So good noon, everyone. I'll talk a bit about how native fish within the same genus got replaced by invasive, very strong invasive species in Czech Republic, but also in the most of the continental Europe, and how you can perceive this also through anglers' lenses. But you may not be so familiar with this fish, so I'll introduce it briefly. It is actually quite interesting fish from the for the science also, because it has very famous anoxia adaptation. It can live up to 5 months without oxygen under the ice when it's well fed, and during that time it even produces ethanol. So it's quite fantastic. I'll get back later to anti-predation adaptation that the species has. However, it's really adapted to those pools that are that goes anoxic, and this is its specialty. So it's poor competitor under the normal circumstances, and we can see that. We can see that it declined from least concern. When I was 7, it was still everywhere, to critically endangered status currently in Czechia, but also in other countries that can be seen on this figure. The reason behind this decline is this fish. It is quite similar. It's gibel carp that came from Asia. It was imported with big-headed carps to Romania and Hungary. It got to Czechia through Danube in 75 to 76. During this migration in Danube, when it started to be invasive, it consisted up to 20% of the commercial anglers' catches in Danube. And currently it goes to Western Europe, Portugal, Spain. It's present in Scandinavia, and it's even invaded Canada currently. And its specific adaptation is this gynogenesis, where females can produce clones through mating with other cypernates, and they don't use the genetic material of the males, and so one female can basically overpopulate your system very fast. And when those fish get together, we can see such kind of pictures. So by the condition you can determine what is native fish and what is invasive fish. So the one who is doing well is obviously the invasive one, while the native Carassius basically cannot reproduce, and within 10 years it disappears from the ecosystem completely. But those are the stunted populations that obviously wouldn't be so interesting for anglers, just as a bait, let's say. But we can go a bit further on the competition. Here, the upper curve, this comes from Sympatry ponds. The upper curve is of the invasive gibel carp, and the lower curve is the growth of the native crucian carp, while they can achieve alone very similar sizes. If you put them alone, they will utilize ecosystem in different efficiencies. So in the terms of weight increments, the invasive gibel carp will grow 4 times faster in terms of weight than crucian carp. The reason behind this is utilization of food sources in the ecosystem. This is the isotopic figure. I'll not go much into detail, but you can see that the green, again the invasive one, is a bit lower in comparison with the native crucian carp. That means it can reach to plant sources more effectively than the native. And what it translates into reality, when the zooplankton is depleted during the summer, crucian carp doesn't have much food sources, while gibel carp can feed on detritus and plants and is still doing well. We also tested the eutrophication effects in the competition of those species, and you can again see that when they compete, the crucian carp cannot grow even under the highest trophy levels, while gibel carp is gaining advantage with the increased nutrients. And we also observed it in the wild, where the most nutrient-rich rivers, basically that's where the gibel carp took over the fastest in Czechia. And but why it's interesting for anglers is that you can see in this figure. So in the past, if you go 2 centuries ago, people thought those are 2 different species. But this is actually the morphological plasticity of the species. It actually made it to science in '92 thanks to this adaptation, where this fish is trying not to be eaten by predators, and thus invests much more in the body depth growth than length growth. And that's why you can find in the bigger communities with predators, you will find low density of such deep-bodied individuals. Why, if they are in competing with only omnivorous species, or they will be alone, they will create this stunted phenotype. And this is basically analogy of what you can see in Daphnias, where if they are with predators, they are trying not to be eaten or less eaten by creating those spines on their heads. And why this is important? Because this species really needs healthy wetlands, healthy flat plain pools, where those fish are colonizing the small pools around the river that are usually single species. There is high competition for food. They have relatively bigger head size compared to body size. They have very high density. And then when the flood comes, they enter the river. Most of them are eaten because they are quite not good in competition, and especially they are not good when they meet predators. They are not having good avoidance for them. But let's say 1% percentage will survive, and they create this deep-bodied phenotype, which can later colonize another oxbow that will become pool in close future. So this is how they work in the landscape, and unluckily, European landscape is no longer very good for such kind of fish. And when I was 9, I got this trophy, crucian carp, the only one ever in my life. And then like 3 years after, they disappeared everywhere in the ponds where I fished. And I thought, because we run the citizen science and we see the people's motivation to engage into it, so I thought perhaps other anglers reported this fish to magazine, because I did not. I could, it would be quite good, but I did not at the time. And later, all I got in my life were these gibel carps. I never got another trophy crucian in my life after that. So we scrutinized the data that anglers reported to angling magazines, to websites. And just remember the dates when they entered Czechia, 75, 76. So that's their entry. And you wait around 10 years for them to be shown in magazines. Then they kind of even out the crucians reports. But after 2000, they are totally taking over. And later, you nowadays cannot get any trophy crucian carp, or you must be super lucky. Just the usual way how to get them is coarse float fishing. It's popular in England or Sweden, not so much in Czechia or Germany, I would say. So if you want to see how it looked in the magazines, the data, so you can see nice crucian carp. Who knows them? You can really nicely tell them from gibel carp. They have smaller scales, roundish tail, a bit different head, but for those who doesn't know the species, it's basically the same. Later you'll get first report in '84 of the gibel carp, of the invasive gibel carp, and later on they will be basically everywhere in those magazines. If somebody reports Carassius species, it will be the gibel carp. And this is the last trophy crucian that was caught in 22 in one reservoir in Highlands, and we know there is a close by quarry where crucian carp still exists, so probably somebody used it as a bait fish and then released the rest of the bucket in the reservoir, and it got lucky. Yeah. So basically, where you can get to see trophy crucian carp in Czech Republic is the National Museum in Prague, but we wanted to do something about it, and so we run the citizen science that is called Save the Crucian Carp. You can go, if you scan this QR code, you'll get to our webpage, hopefully in English, and then you can become a savior. So this is no AI picture. This is central Sweden, where you can still find them. So just to conclude, the invasion of gibel carp caused huge losses and made crucian carp basically nearly extinct in most of continental Europe, not just Czechia. And the competition with this invasive fish directly impacts body condition, growth, and the strength of the invasive fish is the basically more wider usage of food sources, including effective utilization of plant materials, and you can also use anglers as underline this ecosystem-wide change that actually happened. You can go into history and see it. It can be quite good for future studies as well. And nowadays it's time to actively involve citizens to bend the curve and see back some trophy crucians in future. Yeah. Thank you.